We are the Halloweeniacs on the 31st of every month that has a 31st. The four of us, well, the three of us and a guest this time, come together to discuss all things Halloween. Tonight, we're going to talk about the rules of Halloween. So I'm Mike, and who else do we have here tonight?
What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Matt from Nightmare 365.
So we
I'm
got
Tom
Matt.
Picarella with the Halloweeniacs and the best
Ooh.
background right here. Check it out. Haunted Mansion at Disneyland.
And then our guest tonight, we got Adam.
Hey everybody, my name's Adam. I am the creator of the Great Pumpkin Project. Happy to be here.
Yeah, so just before we kind of get into this episode, Adam, what exactly is the Great Pumpkin Project for those who don't or may not know what it is?
So to break it down real quick, the whole point of the Great Pumpkin Project is to kind of instill some random Halloween spirit. 31 nights of October, we'll carve 31 jack-o'-lanterns, put them in random spots. Side of the road, a creepy old house, cemetery, and leave them there. And hopefully somebody would come pass by one of these and get a jolt of Halloween spirit. Been doing it for 9 years now.
Oh, wow. I didn't know you were doing it that long. Wow.
Yeah, this will be year 9. And on website, thegreatpumpkinproject.com, you can print your own tags. There's the tags affixed to every pumpkin. Let's say the Great Pumpkin Project, to let them know you're part of something or other. And you can participate, print out tags, and go put your pumpkins, wherever you see fit, and you can share them on Instagram. So the more people involved, the bigger spread of Halloween cheer the Great Pumpkin Project is bringing along.
And
I love it.
You light the pumpkins too?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, not with candles, because obviously I don't want to burn anything down.
Okay.
Tea lights. Yeah, I'll play it safe because they would, there's a tag on it that says where it's from. They'd find it pretty quick. Yeah, light them. Certain ones, if they're close enough to home, I'll go back and add another light so it stays lit every night. But obviously, it's only as good as the batteries on the light are.
Right. And so you have people participating all over the country, all over the world?
Yeah, so it wasn't supposed to be what it is. It kind of got blown up through a blog. And I figured, all right, well, if we can have people participate, even better. So as it's gotten popular, we've had people participate in almost every state. Ireland, England.
Wow.
I believe I have one from Amsterdam. I'd have to check. But yeah, all over. And anybody who participates sends their pictures in. I try and repost them. And yeah, it's great. It's been family tradition for a lot of people for as long as I've been doing it. We've had people put pumpkins in pretty famous places in front of the Nightmare on Elm Street house, the Myers house. Being from New Jersey, there's a lot of famous weird New Jersey spots. At this point, almost every one of those has been used. But yeah, it's cool to see what comes through. And it's just, it's not so much about Instagram likes or stuff like that. It's about getting people out there to participate to, Halloween spirit, spread that stuff. And the intention is to create a new tradition, so 100 years down the road, whatever, long after I'm dead, people are still doing that. And it takes the jack-o'-lantern just from the window or the porch out into random spots for somebody to walk by it.
Do you have any weird, crazy stories about where somebody put something?
Other than good spots, weird and crazy. I put one in a porta-john once.
Nice.
But nothing, no police interference as of yet. So,
and do the jack-o'-lanterns stay in the location? Like, could you go back a week from when you placed it and it's still there, or do
I would say it's about 60-40. A lot of times they're still there depending on where it is. The place that the project starts every year. It used to be an old train car diner that's no longer there. And depends on the town. Sometimes they'll take them away. Sometimes they're left, and 2 weeks later they're just rotted pancakes. So it varies. I mean, it's always great when they stay, and it's always great when they don't rot so quick. So it depends. But I'm working on a way to try and preserve them so they don't turn to mush so quick, and they look good throughout the month.
Well, nice. I mean, if I was kind of wondering if I put them around my town, I feel like they would get stolen or smashed within a week,
Yeah.
Definitely.
It happens. And you know what? That's just, there's definitely roll of the dice. Hope it stays there. I mean, I've had times where I've put one out and it's gone an hour later, and I've had times when we've put one out, my girlfriend and I, and came back to that spot in an hour and somebody else added to it. And that's always cool because you get to see the participation and you get to see people get involved in it. And that's the most rewarding part of it.
Have you ever seen somebody put a tag that you didn't know, like that was there or something? You just be like walking down the street and you're like, oh shit, there's a tag right there. And it wasn't even, on social media or anywhere else. And you're just like, oh, this is a surprise.
I am still waiting for that. That's my oh, I don't know who this is. I'm in a random spot and come across that. Not yet. And that'll be the best thing. I have had people respond when I've left one somewhere. I'm like, I'm literally down the road from you. Like you must have just been here. Stuff like that.
Wow.
But have not. And I've actually come across, random pumpkins or random spots, but no tags. So we'll see. Hopefully within the next 10 years, I'll come across that.
I love it because it's like, I always think of Thanksgiving and Christmas as family holidays, but Halloween is a community holiday. And this just really adds to that community flavor, because the whole community is getting involved and it's for the community. So that's so cool.
That's the most rewarding. Like I have one person who's been doing it for about 5 years, and her kids are always saying like, oh, when are we going to do the pumpkin project? Yada, yada, yada. And to know it's a family tradition, that's one person, but to have that, become a staple to, a lot of people, it's amazing. So, but that's the point.
Do you have like businesses and stuff get involved too? Or is it just families and whatnot?
I know I have. I'm a pretty big food person, and pretty friendly with a lot of like local breakfast spots. And I've had owners of them, put one out and whatnot, but nothing to the effect of, going to a business and asking, hey, would you mind participating? But here and there, yeah.
All right.
When do the tags usually come out? Because I know looking on, the website, it looks like the tags were finally up on October 11th last year.
So I was a little late. So the way it normally works is so every year I get physical tags. I make some for myself and a few groups of people that I know. I can send you guys some. So the tags that will be made this year with the artwork will specifically be for this year. The tags that'll get posted on the website are last year's design for people to print out. So
gotcha.
The newer tags remain exclusive for a year, and then by next year you'll see those posted. But you can print out last year's, print out as much as you want, and throw them on your pumpkin, and yeah, there you go.
I like it. I'm kind of upset. I just found out about this last year. Living in Jersey, and this was going on since 2015, and I'm just like, why didn't I see this? Like, what the heck?
I'm north, man. I'm Morris County. You're further down there. I'm not angry. It's okay.
Yeah.
Better late than never.
No, I know, but like I'm just saying, like I do like a lot of the weird New Jersey stuff. Like my brother and I, that's what we do. Some, our YouTube channel and things like that. And I just never come across it, or I never even thought about it if I did see a pumpkin. So yeah, I'm glad I found it last year, but I wish I knew about it sooner.
It's half my fault. I'm only on Instagram. I'm sure if I was on TikTok, people would know, and that's eventually has to happen.
I'll tell you what, though, I'm gonna put one in Idaho for sure. So
You better, Tom.
that'll be awesome.
I don't think I've had one from Idaho yet, so that's just
Oh, you
another
will this year.
pin on the
You
map.
will this year.
Yeah, well,
I
Adam,
appreciate it.
we really wanted to have you on this particular episode. This is our rules of Halloween episode, because your Great Pumpkin Project is kind of like a rule in itself. You know, the whole thing has the goal of bringing back a certain spirit of Halloween, magic of Halloween's past. Like your website, there's in your mission statement, it says it so nice. And it feels kind of like a rule, like this is a rule to do these pumpkins, you know, one every day of the month of October. So that's why we wanted to have you on this specific episode.
Perfect.
And basically the idea for this episode came about because a few episodes back we did a show on what we hated about Halloween, and it almost seemed like there were a lot of rules built into, like we talked about. You know, Tom and I hate when people want to go to sports events or watch sports on TV on Halloween. So it was kind of like a rule. And then Matt was like, we should do an episode just on the rules. And we were thinking about the rules that are in the 2007 film Trick or Treat, which Matt has the perfect shirt for that today. Those rules I have right here. There's 7 rules. 1, always wear a costume. 2, never blow out a jack-o'-lantern before midnight. 3, never take down your decorations before November 1st. 4, always hand out candy to trick-or-treaters. 5, never hurt the innocent. 6, always respect the dead. And 7, always check your candy. But there's another movie that came out in 2016 called The Barn, and that had a bunch of rules in it as well. In the movie, that doesn't really have it in list form. It's kind of like the main character, who's also named Sam. He kind of talks about these rules through dialogue and a bunch of scenes. So I was trying to get a list. So I was able to get a hold of the writer-director, Justin M. Seaman, and he sent me the actual list. So here is his list. There's 5 of his rules. The first one's called the Gourd. It goes on the belief that if you place a lit jack-o'-lantern by your door, it fools the evil into believing you welcome them. Therefore, they move on to the house that doesn't have a pumpkin. I like that rule a lot. So then number 2, the costume. You must wear a scary costume to trick the evil into believing you are one of them, which I like that rule as well. Because
yeah, I like that one.
That's a good one.
3, the treat. When you knock on someone's door and say trick or treat, if they give you candy, they've picked treat, and all is well, and that's their offering to leave them alone and not play a trick. Number 4, the trick. It's a means of causing mischief or retaliation to whomever doesn't make offerings. And 5, never trick the treat. When a treat is given and a trick is played on the giver afterwards, then you've broken the golden rule, and now whatever form of evil that's out there can do as they wish. You're fair game. So those were all the rules from those 2 movies, and I wanted to ask you guys, what do you think of those rules? Do you have rules of your own, and why are these rules and your rules the Halloween rules we should all live by?
Halloween with pumpkins and mice. Halloween, it's so nice.
I mean, I love those rules. I really, really do love both of those rules. And I really have taken over the past couple of years for the movie The Barn. I think I told you guys about that. And I don't know, Adam, if you saw it or not.
My intention was to try and watch it before this episode. I didn't get to it, but those rules are pretty fantastic.
Yeah, it's not listed. He doesn't have them listed out anywhere. Like I said, he's just kind of like randomly talked about throughout the movie. And I wish that was kind of like listed out, like almost like a,
item is.
Yeah, like I mean the trick or treat one that you see those rules everywhere in artwork. So, it'd be cool to put these on something like that plaque or something as well.
That's
You,
what I
you know what
want.
I think is funny is the jack-o'-lantern light where you light the candle and you're not supposed to let it go out. And the funny part is before I even saw Trick or Treat, I feel like I thought we made it up. And then all of a sudden it was in the movie, because I feel like we've sort of followed that, at least my brother and I have followed that for years. And then all of a sudden we saw the movie and I was like, oh, dang.
I
Because it
always
was just
thought of
something
it
we've always done.
I've always thought of it as the light in a jack-o'-lantern allows the Halloween magic out into the night.
Yeah.
That's what I like to believe the jack-o'-lantern does. That jack-o'-lantern is magic. And all of a sudden it's dark, those jack-o'-lanterns are lit, and anything is possible. There can be monsters in the bushes or around that corner. A witch can fly through the moon, and it's because of the magic coming out of that jack-o'-lantern. And it has to be lit in order for that to that's my mythology that I like.
I dig that.
Yeah,
Ironically,
agree.
I have no say in any of this because the majority of mine are just not real candles anyway. So I'm screwed.
Do you
I
so
don't
wait,
think
do you
too many-
so does anyone have a rule? Does it have to be a candle or can it be?
Wait, hold on. Matty D had something to say.
Well, no, I was going to say a couple of things. I do, going back to those rules. I never even thought about some of those rules in terms of like keeping the jack-o'-lanterns lit until we started doing like the Halloweeniacs and talking and seeing the movies and stuff like that. Because I mean, I know we talked before with like Adam, like one of my big traditions is painting a pumpkin, and I know you're against that. And like one of the things, I always got these two small pumpkins. They're always small, and I'll paint like the original, well, not the original, but one of the Jason masks on the one, like the white one with the red chevrons, and then I'll do the 8-bit kind of like that teal, blue, purple. And that's like one of my big things that I'll always have out on my porch throughout like the Halloween season. But then, yeah, like when it gets closer to Halloween, probably like a week, we'll do the carved pumpkins and then I'll put a light in. I usually always like, there's always a pumpkin that we have like a candle in, and then there's always a pumpkin where we get the flickering, LED light that we've been putting in from like Spirit Halloween or Party City back in the day. So yeah, like
I
I
mean,
never
that's
really thought about
those are
it.
rules for you. Like you have to do, it's a rule you got to do those two painted ones.
See, I was thinking about this. I was thinking about like the rules and traditions. Like, some of the things that we talked about before, like I know Mike and Tom like to do, like pasta or, pizza on Halloween.
Yep.
And that was one of my things that I've been doing for years too, ever since we were younger. We either got pizza or, made like spaghetti or some type of pasta. And that was kind of like the go-to meal on Halloween. And I feel like that's more of a tradition, like thinking about then rules. It's not like rules. I think I want everybody to like abide by, like the ones in the movies, Trick or Treat or the Barn, or something like, the Great Pumpkin Project, where you put them out every 31st of the, or every 31 days of Halloween season. So that was like always my rule. One of my rules ever since a kid was, I know in Jersey, and we talked about this too, like Mischief Night, right? We have like a cartoon on our Halloween, Halloweeniacs YouTube channel. And Mischief Night, we would never mess with the houses that were decorated for Halloween. Even if it was just a little jack-o'-lantern on their porch, we never, ever messed with those houses. And that's always been a rule. And it kind of like ties into, like the barn. Don't play the, a trick on the treater, give you the treat. Even though they didn't give us a treat, they kind of gave us a treat in decorating their house in one way or another. So that was always a rule as a kid. Like when we did Mischief, you stay away from the houses that aren't like decorated.
I like that rule. That's a good rule.
I like that too.
Yeah, that was one of my big things. Like, yeah, don't mess with the houses that are decorated. It's just because they have that love, they have that spirit of the Halloween season. I think that was one of the biggest things. I mean, a couple of the rules that I have just to share with people, like, yeah, there's traditions that I have, I think are cool, but I'm always tell like scary stories, whether you read them, listen to them, like around the holiday season. And then I think these two kind of tie into each other, where it's like share the love for the season with somebody. Like I get excited when I found the Great Pumpkin Project, you know, like it's just something new and exciting. And then you read the mission statement. It's like, I could feel that, like you said in the beginning, I definitely could feel that. And then keep the memory of Halloween's past like alive. Because I feel like Halloween is one of those holidays that always I see change over the years, whether it's from like the 20s until now. There's always different traditions that come up, like, you know, living through trunk or treat, or living through, you know, not too many people going out trick or treating nowadays. Or there's certain things that come into play and then like kind of fade out, but there's always that same tradition of Halloween, and you kind of get that feel for it. And I like when people keep that alive.
I agree.
Yeah, no, I agree too.
Totally.
Yep.
Well, another thing to your point in like the evolution of the, you know, the traditions and everything, and trunk or treat, that's one of my things, but it evolves and stylistically, image wise, and, you know, traditions, lack of trick or treating and so on. Pumpkins are pretty safe. That's never gone away, you know, and I feel like that's the one thing that ties in Halloween from 100 years ago, more than 100 years ago till now. It's the one thing that hasn't been messed with. You know, it's not going to go away. You don't have, you know, there's no parental element to it. And you're like, oh, it's not safe to trick or treat. There's nothing that messes with that. And Halloween's an old holiday. You know, the more old decorations look, the more old their traditions are, the more I'm drawn to it. To what you're saying is when you're seeing these evolutions of the holiday and you're seeing living through cheesy or lackluster traditions of Halloween, and when you go back and look for Halloweens of old, that stuff's great. Old decorations, blow mold, stuff like that. You're always going to go back to what you were brought up with, you know, as a kid or whatnot. And the older, the better. You know, the second they started putting glitter on stuff, I'm like, we're done. We're done.
Yeah.
So that would be a
Or the
rule for
stupid
you.
music.
Glitter.
What's that?
Would that be a rule for you? No glitter.
I mean, yeah, sure. Yeah, I'll make it a rule. I mean, there's no glitter in my house.
I hate glitter. Hate
I
it.
can't stand it.
Yep.
Not on Halloween decorations, anyway.
Yep. No candy corn either.
Okay, so
Come on.
That's my second rule. No,
That's on my list.
That's
as
my
well.
second rule. So I had a whole list of rules, but I narrowed it down to 5.
Of course you did.
I'm not going to duplicate the ones from Trick or Treat or the Barn. And,
Are you sure it's only 5, Mike? And you're not going to have like a couple of bonus ones?
No, I even deleted them. So
Just a bunch of hocus pocus.
So my first rule was the Halloween season starts August 1st. And Tom and we've always kind of done August 1st because we used to get this magazine in the summertime called Cracked Monster Party. That magazine just kind of ushered in the Halloween season. So August 1st, that's when it starts. Or my second rule, the beginning of the season must include the purchase of pumpkin candies. And so you have to get these guys.
That's disgusting. Like maybe one of those, like they just
come on, Maddie.
rubber. They're just rubber.
Gotta have the pumpkin candy. Gotta
rubber.
The candy corn pumpkin candies.
Yeah.
Gross.
So
I mean, I do love the symbol as candy corn. Like I love the colors, and I do have an old blow mold that, you know, my parents had when we were younger, and I still have it today.
Candies.
That I put it out there, but other than that, not a fan of the candy.
Unreal. My third rule: to those who run towns and cities, businesses, schools, libraries, churches, etc., you must decorate with Halloween die cuts, blow molds, and the like, and also provide Halloween festivities for your constituents / clients / whatever in the form of Halloween carnivals, Halloween programs, Halloween games, or raffles to honor the season.
I'll back that 100%.
Because there's nothing, it's a community holiday. It's like, as I was saying.
It is.
So the whole community should get involved. And I just always remember, like, my classroom, that the decorations and then participating in whether it's bobbing for apples or going to the pumpkin patch or costume contests, like that stuff makes the Halloween season.
Yeah.
Number 4, true Halloweeniacs must read It's Halloween by Jack Perletsky.
Oh man, you're stealing every
Because
single one of
Can't even
mine.
see it.
let me make it.
Do you want me to get it? I mean, I don't have the original cover.
There we go. I'll go like that. Yeah. So
I've never heard of it. Check that out.
dude, it's from like 77,
Right here.
I think. Yeah, there you go.
I got mine too. That's one of mine.
Somebody text me the author name and everything. I'll add that to the list.
Yeah, it's a poetry book. It's for kids.
Perfect.
But dude, it rings in the season. And then my number 5, on Halloween night, ghouls don't come out till dark. That means trick-or-treating ghouls, haunted house ghouls, any ghouls. So I know there are a lot of people who can't trick-or-treat at night because maybe it's colder or more dangerous, and so they do it during the day, and that's fine. But to me, it's got to be dark. The jack-o'-lanterns have to show on the porch or the window. So yeah, those are my five rules.
I mean, you literally stole almost half my list. And then I had the candle and the pumpkin, so I'm not going to go back over it because I had August 1st.
You did? Oh, wow.
Yeah, I had August 1st, Jack Perletsky,
nice.
candle and the pumpkin. I do have, and the pumpkin candy as well.
Yeah,
there's only 2 really that I can honestly say that I can add to this, and that's going to be you have to go to a pumpkin patch.
Yeah.
I try to every single year. You have to go to a pumpkin
patch, or can it be a grocery store? Right?
No.
I know, you got to go to a pumpkin patch.
Yeah.
And then the last rule, which I'm surprised that my brother didn't chime in on, you have to buy our book.
Oh my God. Shameless
plug.
And read it. You just have to.
I do have to say, I remember when we talked about this before, and it was always one of the things that was like a little tension, where we say like August 1st, it's really early.
I think we talked about this before when we had the phone call before the show. That because we're on the East Coast, there is a distinct difference between how it feels August 1st and how maybe it feels by the time you get to September. Whereas in California or hotter states, there's no divide.
Yeah.
So for me,
blasphemy. That's
still
blasphemy.
hot. It's still hot in October.
There's a great a guy named J.W. Oker. He's an author and he writes a blog, and he has a thing called the August Sting of Halloween, which he's completely against about everything coming out too early. I can understand. Look, I want to get as much out of the holiday as I possibly can. I don't want it to be 31 days and done, but there's got to be a chill in the air. It has to feel somewhat like fall. For somebody who lives on the Northeast, there is that distinct difference. There's that change, the change in the air, the actual setting in of the season. If you're in a hot temperature state, it's all the same to you. So you're not gypping yourself of like.
No, dude, I'm in Idaho, and it definitely starts. I mean, it's hot right now, but I already have that feeling, even though it's hot.
I wish.
Start watching movies and get into it. Like I've been so into Halloween already. Well, here I have a question for you, Adam. Sure. When do you start decorating?
So, what I start decorating probably early to mid-September. To answer your question about or to piggyback off you saying like, oh, you want to get into it. I got the feeling for it. So do I. So I have that feeling like middle of July, but for me, it's just like, no, like hold off, because if I'm getting all into it middle of July, by the time October comes, it's kind of like, okay, we've been doing this for 3 months already. So I kind of make myself hold off. That'll segue. My one rule is September 1st is when I allow myself to fully get into it. But doing podcasts, doing the other one I've done too, and your guys, later August, like that to me is kind of like an ushering in of everything. Decorating is usually mid-September, but allowing myself to kind of dabble in actually acknowledging the season,
Very cool. Very cool.
These podcasts are a good gateway.
So I do have a question as far as, like you said, you started celebrating Halloween, in early or mid September. I have always had, it wasn't really a rule. It was more of a tradition. And I know I talked to you guys about this before because we got into some little arguments about, when does the season of the witch really start? And I always started celebrating August 31st was kind of like the kickoff. I would usually just hang up like the orange or purple lights in my house, not outside, but just in my house. And that was like always like the kickoff for kind of getting ready for the season
to ease your way in.
But now that I have my studio in the basement, now I have the studio in the basement. The shit's up all year long, man. So it's like, I kind of don't do that as much anymore, but it's still like August 31st is when I kind of accept, all right, we're getting ready to go back to school here in New Jersey. And, you can slowly start bringing some stuff out, even though stores already have shit out now. Like Spirit Halloween's already been open for like 2 or 3 weeks. And anywhere I go now, there's always Halloween stuff in most department stores, which is kind of like, oh man, because then like in another 2 weeks, you're just going to start seeing Christmas shit, which sucks.
I mean, I agree with you to some extent, but you're 30 days late. So, I mean, really
31.
Yeah, but it's
30 days because August 1st.
Oh, well, yeah.
But today in the morning was really, really nice. It did feel like fall or early September when you first went outside today. But like the last couple of days, it's just been humid. Like you walk outside and your asshole starts to like sweat. And then like as much as I freaking love Halloween,
oh God.
I love it. I mean, I love it. And you guys know I live this stuff, because it's in the basement. Like anywhere I go, I always try to find like antique places. I always try to find blow molds or old things to have to do with Halloween. But yeah, like August.
You want to go on a date?
Yeah, let's do it, man. I'm totally down, dude. I want to go.
Constantly.
I definitely want to go to like, one of the days we can come up, or I'll come up by you and carve some pumpkins. And I just love that. And it just gets me excited, man. I feel like a little kid again.
Yeah. This morning
just
was
talking
good.
about this.
Good
This
weather.
morning was perfect. Yeah. So at the 31st is my, rough mark. It's exactly 2 months. You have plenty of time to kind of get in the mood, start watching some stuff. Cause like the other day, like I think it was last weekend, was Monster Mania here in it's in like Philadelphia area, but it's technically in New Jersey. But the guy from the barn, Justin, was there and he was selling, like the barn. And I didn't get the barn too. So I bought it, or I had my friend buy it because he was there. And I gotta watch it, but I'm saving it. Like I feel like it's definitely too early to watch it, even though I haven't seen it, and I'm excited to watch the barn too. But yeah, I gotta save it for the season.
Yeah, I would save that for sure. That first movie was great, and I watched it last year. I had never seen it before, but yeah, I'm curious. I would wait on that too, Maddie.
And that's the thing.
Man. It's all for the season.
When we say August 1st, that doesn't mean like I don't deck my house out full bore, full bore, and
no, I know what you mean.
Watching Halloween movies, but we start getting into. I'll typically start watching, like for me personally, I'll start watching like classic monster movies, but I'll save Halloween movies like John Carpenter's Halloween, Trick or Treat. I'll save those movies for October.
Yeah.
But yeah, it'll get more
for sure
hardcore as we get closer to kind of gradually go into it. But I always still feel like once 4th of July is over, it's like the next holiday is, I mean, there's Labor Day, but but it's like Halloween's next.
Patriots Day.
Yeah.
I mean, I get you. I get what you're saying. I did want to ask Adam a couple questions. First is like, I want to hear your rules if you have any rules that you lived by, your whole life. Yeah. So for Halloween, and what made you like, was there something that made you really want to start this Great Pumpkin Project?
Yeah. So the short answer as to why it exists. So I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with Pumpkin Rot, the blog. He's does home haunt work.
Yeah.
No.
Okay. So once we're done, pumpkinrot.com, I think is the blog title. He does amazing work, and him and I have conversed back and forth for a while. And he is basically very well known to the Halloween community for his work. Does all the work in his yard. He's done his work is that much respected. He's done effects work for the movie Krampus and a movie called Mr. Jones.
Oh, nice.
In stumbling upon his stuff, knowing I have no artistic ability, I'm like, what can I do to kind of become part of the Halloween community? So the short version of that is I figured out, hey, if I carve pumpkins and leave them places, that's the easy way for me to do it. But initially, the idea for the project came along because a few towns over, there's been a mischief night tradition for over 15 years where somebody takes like dinosaur footprints or monster footprints and stamps them onto a road. And that road is alongside a lake. So every mischief night, the next morning, you see these tracks of these monster footprints go into the lake. And I'm like, that's amazing. Like somebody created a tradition. What can I do to create a tradition?
That's awesome.
That's cool.
So it's a combination of wanting to create a tradition and what can I do to create like a long-lasting effect in the community of people who do this. So that's in a sense why it exists. And then as far as my rules, my personal rules, no pumpkin spice stuff till last week in September. I don't care. I love it. It tastes great. Oh, I've had pumpkin spice spam, as you know.
Yeah.
I don't want to start eating that stuff when it's 90 degrees out. The feeling's got to be right. And call it a personal rule. And obviously I can't stop people from doing it. I don't have kids, so I don't have, a need for it, but to hell with trunk or treat. Terrible. I heard you guys talk about it on your last episode about what you hate about Halloween. And I'm not opposed to it as far as, okay, I'm going to get double the candy. Good for you. Who's going to, why rob your kid of that? But if that's a supplement to you actually busting your ass with a pillowcase and wearing a costume that isn't comfortable at all, and to trudge up and down the streets of your town, my town growing up is very hilly. So we would go into a section of town and there's a lot of houses, but it's up and down hills. And it was either too cold or the makeup I had on or the mask we had on was miserable to wear. It doesn't matter. You have to suffer for that.
It's the journey. It's to me, exactly. I always felt like Halloween was kind of like a coming of age thing. It's a time.
I can see that.
I mean, obviously there's the stage of Halloween where you go trick-or-treating with your parents. But the first time you get to go without your parents and it's your siblings or your friends and you go out and you're venturing through the neighborhood.
Yeah.
There's something about that that's so cool and it's unique to this holiday. There's no other holiday that has anything like that. And substitute that with a parking lot and a bunch of people's cars is ridiculous. Now, if you want to do that at another time of the month as just some fun festive type thing, that's totally fine. But that cannot replace trick-or-treating, in my opinion. That's
of course. And you're missing out on all the people that decorated their houses. You miss out on those neighborhoods.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just
exactly.
The feel, man, just everything. Yeah.
Can I add on to your prior thing about towns needing to add Halloween festivities?
Oh, yeah.
There's nothing worse than a town's like, oh, Halloween's going to be the last Saturday of the month this year. It's like, fuck off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Yep.
Terrible.
No. It's like, yeah, Christmas is going to be the Saturday before Christmas because the weather is going to be easier for people to travel. Like, shut up.
No,
Yeah, exactly.
I agree.
Idea.
I agree.
Ray comes up with a winning idea.
Yeah,
If
I agree with
I
that
was
too.
a town mayor,
I love it.
no trunk or treats. Your kids are doing it on Halloween. I don't care if there's 6 inches of snow. Get out there. When I was your age, I walked 60 miles
Exactly.
to get Snickers bars.
I guess I would have to start saying that because I feel like that might become a thing the more and more, we get down the line and we get older. I really do probably think that's going to become a thing where it's like, all right, we're going to celebrate on the Saturday or whenever. So everybody gets, out of school and everybody's home, blah, blah, blah.
Well, look how
It's
many
bad
people
now.
now are like doing parties on Halloween night. Like I don't want to go to a party on Halloween night.
Yeah,
I want to
actually-
go trick or treating.
I can't remember if we
I would love
talked
to see you
about
guys
this-
trick or treat.
I can't remember if we
What-
talked about this on another Halloweeniacs or if we were on a phone call, but there was discussion about whether Halloween, they should change it from the 31st to the last Saturday of the month.
Yeah, we did talk about it because there was an article
Yeah.
written about it.
Yeah, there was an article about it because
Yeah.
it was more for, the people, it was a marketing thing because they make more money if, Halloween's on a Saturday. Stupid, right? Yeah. it
I'm
should
pretty
be the
sure we all
31st.
disagreed with that.
Yeah,
Pretty
we
sure
did. We all
did.
disagreed with that.
If you're on a podcast for Halloween and making Halloween content, if you agree with that, you should be ashamed.
Yeah, exactly.
How old were each? What was the oldest age each of you trick or treated up until?
Last year,
Yeah, I
Actually
mean,
trick or treated.
Give it some content.
Yeah. Well, that's because I also have grandkids. So
Okay.
I mean, Tom and I,
Or yourself.
we started making haunted houses when I was in 5th grade. So Tom was in 3rd grade. So we would always go trick or treating really quick and then come back and do our haunted house. And we did that forever. So
yeah, I mean, I think honestly for years we were always really focused on making a haunted house. But I still think beforehand, once we had everything set up, I feel like we kind of just went real quick, got some candy, and then came back and
we
ran
just like our street. We would go to a few houses before it got dark, and then we would run back, and we were always anxious to start up the haunted house. But we went trick or treating by ourselves pretty early on. I feel like I was in 2nd or 3rd grade. It is a different time in the 80s.
Yeah.
And so
you guys are
it was
old.
me, Tom, and my best friend Travis, who lived down the street. And I think we were in 2nd or 3rd grade. So Tom was even younger. And we did that every year until it's 5th or 6th grade. We started doing haunted houses.
Yeah.
It feels like there were many more
Somehow.
years of that trick or treating, but I guess when you remember it from I'm 47 and you think back, it seems like there are more years than there really were. But most of those years we were making haunted houses. I mean, what about for you guys? Is that similar?
I would say I stopped trick or treating. Like the last thing I remember, it had to be like freshman year of high school, because I mean, I know you guys, and Greg talked about this on the episode too, where we played sports and we played football, and in high school we did have a football game on Halloween.
That's
we
blasphemy.
Yeah, we wore
Blasphemy.
all
No good.
we wore all orange. We were orange and black, dude. We were orange and black, and
I mean,
were
I'll give it to you
all
for the
orange.
colors, but you don't
So, yeah, I think
you don't play sports on Halloween.
I think that was the
Was-
last time I went, trick or treating. So it was, like 97 or so.
Were your school colors naturally orange and black, or did you wear orange and black because it was a Halloween game?
No, throughout my whole life, my school colors have always been orange and black. Even in college, they've been orange and black.
Wow,
Jeez.
that's crazy.
Yep. We were the Lions. So yeah, we were orange and black. Yep. Middle school, high school, and then college. I love it. I live for this. It's in my soul.
It's your favorite Looney Tune character, Daffy Duck, because he's orange and black.
Yeah, but he's
He's
more
orange and black.
yellowish. Yeah, he's
The orange
Sorry,
bill
Bugs
and
Bunny is the
black.
best.
it's a yellow. It's more of a yellowish.
Yellow. What are you talking about?
I don't know. You guys are colorblind.
What
So
about you,
one of the
Adam? When did you stop trick or treating?
I mean, if you want to be technical, like there's a place in Pennsylvania, not that far from us, called Lambertville. If you get a chance, look it up. It's like New Orleans
Yeah.
for trick or treating, but with kids. It's an amazing experience. And we had went there just to check it out a number of years ago. And when they're like row houses, so you go row house, and we took candy. That doesn't count. But my last actual like trick or treating was probably maybe freshman year in high school, eighth grade, and we dressed as something absolutely like probably obscene or obnoxious. Something with like, I remember my friend had like a pair of fake boobs and wore like a nightgown over the boobs and cut the nipples out. Like it was inappropriate.
Love it.
Yeah, I was probably around eighth grade, freshman year of high school.
Yeah, but what did you do after that? Did you set up like haunted houses, or because we haven't stopped, usually every year. I mean, I don't even get a lot of kids, but usually we try to set something up here.
I'm a big music person, so it seems like Halloween, I'd end up at some kind of show. I don't know if any of you are familiar with Typo Negative. They're very, very, very Halloween centric. They would play on Halloween a lot. There's a band called World Inferno Friendship Society, who up until recently, when their singer died, did a thing called Hallow Mass, and it was a specific Halloween show every year in either New York or New Jersey. So, that's the go-to most of the time for me on Halloween. We are on a busy street now, like a super busy street with cars. We have lived where we live 4 years now. Not a single trick-or-treater. It's depressing. So we know that there's no reason to stay. Yeah, trust me. It's very depressing.
Yeah, that is. Well, oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, we need signs that says like full-size candy bars here. Maybe we'd get one or two.
Yeah, I lived on a busy street until like 4 years ago, and it was the same thing. We would get like one or two because it was a cut-through street too, so there was tons of traffic, and it was depressing. But now we live in a cul-de-sac. We get a decent amount of people, but I don't think too many people venture back here half the time. I want to start
one way in, one way out.
Yeah, I want to start making people realize that there's
I live in a very pleasant neighborhood.
Yeah, sure.
But nobody comes in this neighborhood. There's like a specific spot that all the kids go to, and it's on the other side of town.
The rich people.
Oh, that's 100%.
I gotta show you. I'll have to send you video. Like our streets, you can't drive a car down. It's like,
I do love that.
Those are packed. That was cool to see.
Awesome. That's amazing.
Did anyone else have any other rules before we wrap up this episode? We're probably going a little.
Yeah, I wouldn't say rules. I mean, this is one of the things that fascinated me about the Great Pumpkin Project was I remember, I think it was 2-3 years ago, and I think I told you guys this, that I tried to get, and it was difficult for me. And this is one of the things, I don't know how you like carve and put out pumpkins like for the 31 days, because between work and other shit that's going on, I would just try to get pumpkins. I would try to go to a pumpkin patch or somewhere to get pumpkins a day just to put around my house or out in the front yard. And then I remember, I think I got up to like almost, I think 7 or 8. And I was like, dude, shit, tomorrow I'm like super busy and there's no way I could actually go do this. And I'm like, I don't know if I could find the time to get to a store before or after work. And it was one of those things where and this was one of the years right before I found, what you were doing. I was like, I'm going to try it again this year. But now doing this, I think I'm making it my goal. Plus I'm off half the month. So it'll make it a lot easier.
So I used to be off half the month. I used to take 2 weeks off from the 15th to November 3rd. So that helped tremendously. The kicker to get it done.
Just do it.
Walmart. Like I trust me, I'm not happy with it. Don't worry. I still go to a pumpkin patch. I will get a few from there. But when we're talking cost and I need to get like 10, 15 at a time. Like So
Well,
the
yeah, you don't
trick
want to
is-
go to a pumpkin patch for if you're going to be doing something like that.
Oh,
I'll give
I
you
would
that
be-
for sure.
take out a mortgage. No
Yeah.
way. It's like go to Walmart, they're $4.97. I'll buy about 10 to 15 at a time. And then what I'll do is you talk about like finding time, speed. Because they don't look good. They're about as basic as anything, which I'm fine with. Speed, man. Like by the end of October, my wrist has like muscles it doesn't have the rest of the year. Because it's just carve, 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 cut, 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 cut. Literally,
I love it.
it's about speed and it's about planning. Because I can't do every one of these things in my immediate neighborhood. I have places I want to hit. So
Yeah.
if I know I need to be somewhere, for example, your neck of the woods, I'm like, okay, on a weekend, I'm going to plan a trip down there and put one. It's like, it's become very strategic. The first few years sucked.
Yeah.
But
Has
my fault.
anybody, I know you said they're pretty much, I think in the beginning of the episode, you said every weird New Jersey spot has been hit. Has the War of the Worlds been hit?
In Grover's Mill,
Yeah.
like the monument,
Yeah.
I want to say no, but I think I'm wrong.
Okay, all right.
know. I think I know the person who would have done it too, and I'd have to ask her.
The
and
reason
I'm
I
sure-
ask, the reason I ask because that's one of the spots that popped out to me, and I was like scrolling
Perfect.
through, your Instagram feed, and I'm sitting there like, all right, I don't think he's done this, and I was looking
Well,
on the
those are
website
just-
too.
Those are just me. What's on the Instagram
Okay.
feed, most of them are just me.
Gotcha.
Where you want to look is the little story blurbs, because I think I've done everybody's contribution for the past 3 years in those.
yeah,
But
yeah.
I don't think
I
it's
was
there.
I was looking through it, and that's one of the things I was like, all right, I don't see it. So I was like, all right, I think that's a good idea because we were going to
Go
go
for
down
it.
there and film. And I have a couple other spots that I think would be kind of cool. So hopefully it'll add to the the season and the joy and the spreading of the message.
That's what I want to hear. Hey, I
Yeah.
will send all you guys tags and like actual tags, and send your stuff my way. It's always appreciated.
That's another thing.
Yeah,
Like
sweet.
if I wanted to donate or anything, could I donate to you to make more tags? Like, do you do that? Like, is that something that you're willing to do, or you want to do, or you're
It-
just saying like, hey, just go to the website and print them out yourself? I mean, I know it's
So-
an extra work.
So the thing is when I have the tags made, one, it depends on how much the artist who's doing the artwork charges for the work.
Yeah.
So that cuts into the budget. And it comes down to what it costs me to produce the amount of tags. Sometimes if I make more, like I have extras of every year, they dwindle down as we go.
Yeah.
But it's not just I don't get 31 tags. It wouldn't make sense. I can do like 200 at a time. So there's no problem me sending a few over.
You got yourself a sponsor. If you need help, I'll definitely help out with that for sure.
Always appreciate it.
Got to, man. I love this stuff. And if it just sparks, if it just like hits one person, just one, like that we placed it somewhere and they're like, dude, what is this? And then they look into it and see the pictures, and then they kind of tell their friends, and then they kind of have that love, and they're like, dude, I never really liked Halloween, but there's something about this that makes me like look forward to it, and just like the joy. And I don't know, like if I could spark that, it's amazing.
You're gonna make me tear up.
I love it, dude. I love this stuff. I don't think you understand how much I love and live for this stuff.
No.
It's seriously.
No. I appreciate the love, and I appreciate you guys having me on, be able to yammer on about it for a while. The more I can get it out there, the more people that appreciate what it's about, the better.
Yeah, I think I don't know, maybe I could speak for the rest of us, but I think you're a fellow Halloweeniac.
Yeah, no, for
yeah,
sure.
I
I'll
think
take
he
it.
definitely is. Yeah.
Yeah, and we got to get you up if it's cool by you to put you up on the Weird Network website. Just to,
Absolutely.
so they could just go click it, and there's always something, people could, if they're just listening to the Halloweeniacs or whatever, or one of our other shows, and people could, look it up and
Spread the word,
inspired.
man.
yeah,
all
that's
for
what
it.
that's what it's about. I love it. Love this. This was an
Cool.
episode
Thank
that
you
got
so
me
much.
excited for the season.
Everyone's crying.
I'm crying, tearing up. Got
Well,
little
on that
pumpkins.
note, and anything else? You guys, all
No, I think that's pretty good.
right.
I mean, thanks again.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
thank you.
bet. Matt,
Yeah,
Matt,
thanks
you
for
wanna-
coming on.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
Oh,
wrap
you
it
don't have
up.
to thank me. It was an honor. Thank you again. And if you love to come back on whenever you guys want. So
Cool. Sounds
Heck
good,
yeah.
Adam. We really appreciate it. Matt, you want to
Awesome.
take us out?
Yeah, guys, man, I love being a Halloweeniac. Thanks for tuning in to today's episode of the Halloweeniacs on the Weird Network. Make sure to tune in every 31st of the month that has a 31st. And if you really want to keep up with all of us, I'd say the best way to do it is hit up the show notes. The show notes has all of our information from Jack-O-Lantern Press, Nightmare 365. We'll even put the Great Pumpkin Project there. And if you really want to follow along or participate in the Great Pumpkin Project, I definitely recommend visiting thegreatpumpkinproject.com. And don't forget to use the hashtag Halloweeniacs if you want to like share it with us too. Just so if you heard it from here and you're like a newbie like me from last year that found the Great Pumpkin Project, I think that's the best way to do it. So yeah, and if you're a fellow Halloweeniac, you already know. Spread the word. We have a new rule this year. Keep those jack-o'-lanterns lit for all the 31 days of Halloween. Until we meet again in the pumpkin patch, stay spooky.
To the Haunted Mansion.